JC is an Oxford-based artist whose work is deeply rooted in the rhythms and wonders of the natural world. She combines poetry, sculpture and other art forms to bring people together in appreciation of nature. Since joining Earth Trust in January, here at the foot of the Whitnam Clumps, JC has been immersing herself in the breathtaking landscape, drawing inspiration from the voices of the Earth Trust community. Through a series of art workshops, guided walks and informal chats, our staff team, volunteers and visitors have all been contributing to JC's journey of exploration, creativity and connection. Her residency will culminate in a legacy artwork piece which will be displayed here at Earth Trust Centre for visitors to enjoy for many years to come. So now, let's delve into her experiences and insights to hear about the magic that unfolds when art, nature and community intertwine.
So I knew that I wanted to make collaborative artwork, even though it's a little bit challenging because you have to try and put together lots of different art that lots of different people have made with different words. But actually it's been a really magical experience stitching together people through time and place. The workshops have also informed my own practice. But I think, one of the lines that keeps going around in my head was a little boy who, about halfway through one of the workshops, and he was quite young and it's a 3-hour workshop, and he said, "I'd like a little bit of more." So one of the things that happened for me as an artist when I was wandering around, because how the workshops went is we started off initially with doing some artist exercises to help people loosen up. And to get out of the very rational part of our brains, because the rational part of our brains immediately starts to go into, this looks good or that doesn't look good. And that's not really helpful when you're trying to actually be creative. So we did some exercises to loosen everybody up. And then after we did those exercises, we went for walks. And the instruction was really, as well as, working with the treasure tins, was really for people to look and to see and to observe. And what's really nice for me as an artist, when I go out and walk with people who I've never walked with before, is I see things I've never seen before, because everybody sees things that are slightly different. And walking with, younger people and older people from different generations, with walking with children, everybody notices something a little bit different. And that's something that I could bring into the artwork or bring into the piece. So I did warn everyone that I wasn't necessarily going to be using their specific artworks in the final pieces, because that would have been a little bit challenging. But every single piece of work that you see here ended up inspiring me in one way or another. Because the other wonderful thing about printmaking is it again takes us out of this idea of what's good or bad or pretty or ugly, and we start to think about colors and patterns and shapes. I mean, if I look at this little one here, for example, I can see, the impression of the clump with the sun rising. There were so many wonderful pieces. Some people stuck to more traditional printmaking, and they had, you could really see the ribs and the veins and the outlines of the leaves more clearly. Others had a more subtle approach, but it all came from what we saw around us and the inspirations that we had around us. One of the other major inspirations, well, there was 2 other major inspirations for me as I've been working here. The first is I started the residency in the middle of winter, and so I was very, very sensitive to the light. I would often arrive and it would be dark, and I'd be leaving when it was really dark. And so the reason that the residency is called Watching the Light Come In is that's what I did. I would stand out on the balcony in the mezzanine, and there were 2 sets of light I was watching for. In the earlier part of the residency, I was watching for the moonlight, and as the moon would rise, I'd have this incredible view from the Earth Trust out over into the countryside and all the way to Oxford, really. And then the other light that I was watching for was the sun, because through the course of my residency, the sun was setting later and later. Yeah, I guess the snowdrops have been a big part of this residency, because starting in the winter, I've been thinking a lot about watching the light come in, and there's the light that comes from above. I've also enjoyed seeing the moon. It's been amazing watching the moon when I work here of an evening. And then there's a light that comes from below with the snowdrops. If there's a running theme throughout my residency, it's been one of people always literally being able to see the bright side and seeing how learning through nature allows us to have hope for tomorrow.